Ms. Lawson? Ms. Curry?
Here.
Ms. Scott?
Here.
Ms. Reed?
Here.
Mr. Scott?
Here.
Ms. Creech?
Here.
Mr. Flanagan Bay?
Here.
Dr. McMillan?
Here.
Ms. Lawson?
Here.
Ms. Creech?
Here.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Belmont, sorry.
I'm here.
Okay, yes, you are.
Okay, all rise. All rise for the flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Alrighty, we're going to move ahead to registered speakers, public comment. Please hold your comments to 2 minutes. State your name and address before you make your comments. I will enforce the 2-minute rule. It will be enforced. And there won't be any comments after the meeting. You do not have to be registered to speak tonight. Public comment allows for anybody to speak. So starting with registered speakers.
Point of order, can I,
Just for clarification, registered speakers will speak, then those of the public, and then afterwards we will have public comment that'll be on non-agenda items. We're not going to be going through the agenda item again. So
Right.
just as a clarification on that. And again, on these things, if people can be polite, professional, we would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'd like to make a quick statement before we move into comments, please. Thank you. There are currently 5 board members who were not on the board when the decision was made to terminate Superintendent James Harris in December. A few of those board members publicly expressed their concern over the process and urged their future colleagues to delay the action and allow the new board to assess whether the termination was necessary and whether there was anything that could be communicated to the district families and students as to why this decision was being made. The result of what some of us believe was a hasty and unwarranted action was the loss of public trust. It also caused many to question the values, motives, and decision-making of the school board. As a new school board member, it was now our responsibility to fill the void left by the termination of Mr. Harris. The first thing that informed how we viewed this interim or acting position was a description of the responsibilities of the superintendent, which I have right here. It's very long, 3 pages. I won't read all of them, but as you can see, the job of the superintendent is immense and vital to the efficient and effective running of the school district at all levels. As such, we believe that hiring someone with demonstrated experience running a district similar to the Woodland Hills School District would be a tremendous asset to the board during this interim period, as we are tasked with making decisions that will have an impact on the district for years to come. We sought a candidate who could help us develop a strategic vision for the district and can provide an objective assessment of all areas. There was no candidate that we interviewed that was more qualified for this immense task than Dr. Castagna. Was time a factor in the search? Of course it was. There are essential responsibilities that a superintendent must handle immediately, and having an experienced superintendent who, as I previously stated, has a demonstrated record of success in districts similar to ours, gives us confidence that nothing will get missed during the transition. In the coming months, we will be dealing with a variety of issues, such as finalizing a budget and hiring key administrative positions, along with other issues related to planning for the next year. As an experienced superintendent, Dr. Castagna's counsel as a hired consultant on a short-term contract will be welcomed by the board as we attempt to make informed decisions about these critical issues. There will be a search for the next superintendent, and there will be significant public input in the process. But in the meantime, I just want to welcome Dr. Castagna to the district, and I'm excited to begin the work of building a foundation for the future of all of our stakeholders. So thank you.
Okay.
I
Ms.
second that.
Ms. Hawthorne, first speaker, please.
Miss Annie Moon,
Good evening. My name is Annie Moon. I live in Chalfont and I have 3 children in the district. I'm also a proud 1998 alumna who loves Woodland Hills. When I sat in a district focus group a few months ago, we were all able to agree on one thing as we spoke to the Allegheny Intermediate Unit. We have wonderful teachers in this district and we have many wonderful programs for our students. However, we have a terrible image problem. I come to you tonight concerned that the board is only going to add to this image problem by bringing in Dr. Dan Castagna to lead our district. A quick Google search will show you why Dr. Castagna is a controversial figure. Many things can be disputed, but the fact is he was fired from his position in West Mifflin with cause. In my more in-depth research, trying to understand why the board would go in this direction, I could not find any evidence that Dr. Costanza has been active in the field of education in the past 3 years since his termination. Instead, I simply found that he co-owns a bar that has been shut down for COVID violations. This is not a person who has been actively working to improve children's lives in the past 3 years. I know that you have received many emails this week asking you not to hire Dr. Costanza. I hope that you read and took each one to heart. You were elected and appointed to represent your constituents. We have said no thank you via email, and we are saying again tonight, no thank you. Please go back to the drawing board and choose someone else who has been hard at work in the field of education in the past 3 years. Choose a role model and a leader that our students, teachers, and families can be proud of. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Grace Moon. I live in Chalfont and I'm a sophomore at the high school. As a student who has taken on many leadership roles in school activities, I strive to be a role model for my peers. As a high school student, I hope to have someone, a superintendent, who I can look up to, someone who can be a good role model for all of the students in our district. Clearly, Dr. Castagna is not that person. He was fired from superintendent at West Mifflin and has not had experience in the education sector since. He has had multiple DUIs and taken part in hiring individuals that no parent would want walking in their children's schools. Earlier today, I spoke to Aiden Potter. He is our sophomore class vice president, and all of you have received an email from him. He and many other students agree that Dr. Castagna is not someone we want representing our school district and our student body. Past experience is often a good predictor of future performance. Clearly, Dr. Castagna's performance proves that he is not the right person to be leading our district. I know how important it is to have an experienced person in this position. However, past experience comes in more than one form. What this district needs is someone who is going to come and facilitate healing, not do further damage to our district. We know that there are several qualified individuals within our district, including Ms. Golden and Dr. Livingston. Our Woodland Hills family needs someone who knows our district, who cares about our families, and who wants to jump in and do good work. I am asking you to vote no tonight to benefit my future and the future of all of the other students in the Woodland Hills School District. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jonathan Jeffers.
So, yeah, I wanted to speak tonight. As a former resident of West Mifflin, now I live in Turtle Creek. When this man, Dr. Castagna, was at West Mifflin, and there was adversity between himself and the school board, several members of a 1% outlaw motorcycle club just happened to appear at a school board meeting. When these individuals came to this meeting, mind you, these individuals are known for racketeering, extortion, human trafficking, narcotics law violations, intimidation, murder, suddenly appear within a school board meeting to intimidate, harass, and threaten individuals and residents of the borough of West Mifflin. When it was questioned of what their presence was at the school board meeting, it was said that they were there to do a possible book drive for the school district. Mind you, why would anybody allow members of a criminal syndicate to come into a school board chamber and pitch the idea of a book drive? Last time I checked, there's not a school district from sea to shining sea that has had the Hells Angels, the Pagans, the Mongols, or any other illicit group work with their school district. The school board themselves was attacked with frivolous lawsuits, just like individuals, you serve your community. They were attacked with frivolous lawsuits, and the citizens of West Mifflin, we didn't want them. We got rid of them. And what they say is one man's trash is another man's treasure. Not in this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Megan Ham.
Why can't I hear it?
Hello, everybody. I'm on Zoom. My name is Megan Ham. I have a kindergartner at the Edgewood Primary School and a child who's in daycare who I hope to be sending to the Woodland Hills School District in a couple of years. I'm probably not going to tell you anything here that you haven't already heard in the public comments. I am here just to note that I understand that the school board is in a difficult position with needing to find an acting superintendent relatively quickly. But this man was fired from his previous superintendent gig within the other school district, and has spent the last 3 years running a bar after multiple DUI charges. I see no reason to allow this to be leading the school district. And it really makes me question the judgment of both the board and the district, and question whether it's a good place to be sending my children. And that's all that I had to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You have the debit card? Yes. Okay, go ahead and put it in.
Hold on for a minute, please.
Sorry, multitasking.
That's okay.
Mr. Tim Madel. Or Madel, Mr. Madel. Oh, okay.
Had to unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. My name is Tim Madel. I have 2 third graders at Edgewood. I'm sure others will speak tonight about their concerns about Dr. Castagna's past. I'd rather focus on what I've seen over just the last few days. I've seen parents' concerns ignored or dismissed by his supporters, including several board members and Dr. Woods. I've seen a district with an unfair share of negative media attention, inviting a public relations nightmare to be its face. I've seen a petition against this move sabotaged, silencing community sentiment rather than addressing it head on in a respectful, productive way. Most importantly, I've seen many parents that disagree more often than not on what's best for our kids finally unify against this hire. Any school district will fail without support of active, involved parents. And the way this moves supporters on the board seem to be jamming it through with complete disregard to so many constituents' well-founded concerns is only pushing us away. I may not be able to change anyone's vote tonight, but I implore you to take a hard look at how you're doing business and the very real damage you're doing to the public's trust here. Mr. Scott, you talked about that the public's trust was shaken by how things were handled with the previous superintendent. That is not what I'm saying. If you were talking to anywhere near the number of people that I have here, that is not what you would be seeing that is what's happening here. now. Many of you have just started, and I hope that you will change your minds on this, because if you lose the parents that really care about this district, it's going to be a huge hit. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Madel.
Miss Sarahzewski.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Sarahzewski. I live in Swissvale. I have one child in the district. Dear board members, I urge all of you to vote no to hiring Dan Castagna as interim superintendent. The superintendent of Woodland Hills should be able to lead with integrity, treat everyone with respect, be a role model for our students, and have as their guiding principle to lift up the children in our district to the bright future they deserve. Dr. Castagna's public record shows that he cannot be trusted to fulfill this mission. 3 years ago, he was fired from his position as superintendent of the West Mifflin Area School District. The reasons for his firing were neglect of duties, incompetence, immorality, and failing to notify board members of a DUI arrest. Having been fired from his prior superintendent position for these reasons should be enough to withdraw his name from consideration. However, let me speak to his DUI arrests. There have been 3. The most recent was in August of 2019. Everyone in this room should understand how lucky Dr. Castagna has been to have not injured or killed anyone with his recklessness. And I hope that we can all agree that if and when Dr. Castagna makes another reckless decision to get behind the wheel while inebriated, that he does not kill anyone and that he is not employed by the Woodland Hills School District. Please, please vote no. Finally, I want to speak up for everyone that works so hard, is so dedicated to the children of this district, our teachers, administrators, custodians, paraprofessionals, transportation workers, food service employees. Everyone works hard for our kids. That is what keeps me as a proud supporter of Woodland Hills School District. Everyone has been working to show the world how great our district is. And since Wednesday, we're the punching bag, the laughingstock, the pitiable in the court of public opinion. Why? Because of Dr. Dan Castagna. His tarnished reputation is about to rub off on everyone. All any of us parents knew before Mr. Scott had his moment before the meeting started was what we could find through our own research. Prior to that, the board has offered no reasons. Dr. Castagna has offered no reasons why the drama and baggage he brings is a right fit for us. Our reputation as a district has been slowly rising, and the hiring of Dr. Castagna will stink it again. Thank you.
Miss Natalie Watson.
Hi, I'm coming from Zoom. My name is Natalie Watson, and I have 3 children at Woodland Hills, 2 at Edgewood and 1 at Dixon. I'm also a 1997 graduate. We, the Woodland Hills community, are the voices of this district. We all have made it abundantly clear since we were permitted to know the plans of the board members Carlton Scott, Dernica Reed, Bridget Creech, Robert Clanigan Bay, and Dr. Tammy McMillan that we do not want Daniel Castagna considered for the interim or permanent superintendent position. These are our children and our tax dollars. You're our representatives elected to simplify the process of district policymaking. Your job is to listen to your constituents and to represent us. This isn't a power position for political gain or one to be used to fulfill personal favors. This candidate is an unscrupulous character, and that's putting it politely. I'm not even going to bother hitting the high points of his arrest record, court documents, and media reports because, frankly, I don't think you 5 really care. You're brand new in these positions. You haven't given any transparency. I was called an hour before this meeting and told that this candidate had been trotted out to administration for the last 2 days, filling out paperwork and meeting the staff. How is this transparency? How is this building trust in the community, as Mr. Scott said he apparently is doing? We trusted the previous board to make the right decisions, and we agreed that Mr. Harris needed to go. I'm sorry if the 5 of you disagreed on that decision and were not current board members at the time. That's not how this works. You haven't even had your state training yet, and you're already completely dismissing our voices. You don't seem to believe any of us are necessary in this process. Well, we're not going anywhere. We live here, and we expect better from our neighbors, which you are. Do better. Bring us an acceptable candidate. Or please understand that being recalled yourselves is an option. Thank you.
Jennifer L Ferry.
And L Ferry. I live at 204 Oakview, and I currently have 1 kiddo in the district and 2 alumni. I actually didn't write anything down because I usually go over, but now I'm regretting it. People have had a lot of great things to say. I just think the biggest thing is that why are we not looking internally? I was going to actually ask if there is a process. Sometimes I know, Mr. Belmont, you will describe things that aren't necessarily very clear during some of the meetings where we have no idea what's going on. So there's been no information, which looks like it isn't transparent. It feels very distrusting, but it may be that you can't, but it would really be nice if that would be described. So we have heard nothing about this man. And I'm not even going to go there because I think everyone else already talked about that, but we have people internally. That was going to be my question, but I believe we do. And when I look at Dr. Livingston, who literally was the principal when my first son started, who's now 21, she's amazing and she's still here. When I look at Dr. Golden, Miss Golden, she's here as well. So if they both have superintendent papers, why are they not being considered? If you can't talk about that, then explain that to us, because it really feels at this point where, you talked about that in the beginning, it's like there's a vendetta, so that new board members are like, well, now we're going to do this. We are here. And the biggest part that I think a lot of people miss is that it is the parent support, knowing how fantastic the teachers are, that has kept this district at least surviving. I live in Edgewood. I think my kids are one of 12 kids. It's getting better that live in Edgewood and go to the public school. Do you want to know why? It's the reputation, which doesn't deserve it. Now, I'm not talking in this instance, there's a lot of controversy, but you need to look at what the families are saying. And even if you don't agree, at least table the vote. It is not time to vote tonight. It is incredibly disrespectful to the community because you have given no information. Yeah, I'm probably over even without my word, sorry. So yeah, please vote no. If you're gonna vote tonight, vote no, or hold the vote and consider the people that have helped this district grow and continue to prosper. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Abigail Alt.
Hi, I'm on Zoom. I'm Abigail Alt. I have 2 kids at Edgewood, and I would just like to say, well, first of all, good evening to the members of the school board of the Woodland Hills District and the greater Woodland Hills community. I would like to thank the board for giving this opportunity to speak. I believe that honest, open communication is the key to a successful district. I have already emailed members of the board with my concerns, but I would like to reiterate here that I strongly urge you to please vote no to hiring Dr. Daniel Castagna. It is public knowledge that following hearings in 2018, he was found to be at fault of 6 accusations, which include filing a lawsuit without merit against a sitting board member, hiring a convicted murderer to work in the school, directing people to harass and surveil school board candidates, berating a school board member after a vote he didn't like, knowingly misleading the school board about a DUI charge, improperly using a district employee for a personal job. As I stated in my email, these actions are extremely concerning and do not reflect the values of our community. There are many in the Woodland Hills District who are working very hard to create the best environment for the education of our children and the best outcome for their futures. The decision to hire Dr. Castagna is in direct contrast to moving towards this goal. It's an unfortunate reality that our district has been under public scrutiny and we have been the subject of negative press for far too long. Adding a leader who is already publicly accused of acting in a manner which is unsuitable would only tarnish our image further
and discourage families from choosing to be part of this district. In light of the improper behavior that he demonstrated towards his former school board and the obvious disregard he showed for the families he served, I believe he would be a detriment to our families and our community if he were to be hired here, even on a temporary basis. I understand that there are times when a person deserves to have a second chance, and I do hope that Dr. Castagna has learned from his errors. However, I am not prepared to entrust the education, safety, and well-being of my children under the leadership of this person. There are many other qualified people to fill this role. It's better to remain a little longer without a superintendent than to find the wrong one, when so much is dependent on this decision. Once again, I strongly urge you to please consider all of this when voting, and I ask you, please do not bring Dr. Castagna into our district. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Dan Miller.
Hi, I'm on Zoom tonight. Thank you. There's nothing really more that I could say that hasn't already been said, but I do want to address Mr. Scott's comments. There is more to a person than what's on their resume. You seem to have not vetted this person and looked into his history. It doesn't make sense to me that we're even considering this person as a superintendent to oversee our school district. My wife and I are graduates of this district, and we're fierce defenders of the school district. But this is indefensible. We cannot and will not stand for it. Your vote tonight will be reflected in your record, and we will note it in the upcoming elections when you're up for election again. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Miss Tina Doucet.
My name is Tina Doucet, and I live in Braddock. I am the mother of 7 children. All 3 of my adult children have graduated from Woodland Hills, and currently I have 3 children in the district. 2 are at Turtle Creek and 1 is at the high school. Our children deserve better. They deserve better. And I've been a strong supporter for the district at times and a fierce opponent. This isn't blowing over with me. As a mom, it's important that my children have examples, have role models, and many of the teachers, and I'll say many board members have been that to my children and to the children of the district. I hate the fact that I find myself back here almost, 4 years, 4 years plus, I'm right back in the same position. I implore you not to hire the candidate for the interim position of superintendent. This position is a position of public trust, the highest in all the district. You would be placing someone that many people in the community don't trust in a position of trust. Change your mind. Please don't do this to us. I ask the representatives, especially in my region, don't vote yes on this, vote no. And the fact that, in the interim, you said, we're welcoming you to the district. That's not how many of us feel. That's not how we feel. This is important to us. This is, hold off on it. Vote no now. We need someone that we trust. There's a reason why we follow standard protocol. Right now, we need a placeholder. We need someone that's been vetted with a proven track record. And like the other woman said, internally, bring someone, hire someone that internally that already works here, that can do this, even if it's just for a temporary period of time. I encourage you to do that and then conduct a search. Then conduct a search for a superintendent that we can get behind. I want to believe in your leadership. I want to support your decisions. Show us you're worthy of that. Show us you deserve our support. Show us you are a leader. And it just bothers me that folks really think this is going to go away. This isn't going away. This isn't going away. So if you choose to go against what the community wants, we're going to fight you. And eventually we're going to win. So I hope you hear our voices. I don't care what commitment or what promises have been made. Change your mind.
Miss Carlissa Turner.
Good
Ms. Turner? So maybe we want to move on.
Yeah.
She's the last one,
Is she the last
the
one?
last registered speaker. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, the registered speakers have been, the list has been completed. If there's anybody that would like to speak now, please step to the podium, give your name, address, and please hold your comments to 2 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Audra Hamlet. My address is 217 North Avenue. I live in Chalfont. I have nothing to say about the candidate, but I think the board has forgotten you all are reps, which means you're representatives of the community. The community as a whole, not just, a little portion of it, as a whole. You all have gotten phone calls, emails. I'm sure you've been on social media and you're ignoring all of that. All I have to say is, remember, elections do come around. And my daughter will be 18, and some of these kids that you're pissing off will be 18, meaning that you will have parents and students able to vote. Just as easily as you were voted in, you could be voted right back out. There's also things called recall elections. I don't know if anybody knows how that works. Us parents have figured out how it works. We can fight you, we can tussle with you, but we can go to the Board of Elections for a recall. And if that doesn't work, hey, we can wait till a regular election. You were put there, you can be taken out. You represent us, not your personal agendas, not your personal vendettas. You represent us as a community. And some of you are on some power tripper must have forgotten that. But remember, just like you were put in that seat with that little name plaque, you can be removed.
Anybody else?
Hello, my name is Philip Woods of formerly 255 Old Greensburg Pike, Churchill, PA. I'm not a resident of the district, and I do apologize for interrupting the session. It's hard listening to the comments and the judgment of Dr. Daniel Castagna. I grew up with Dr. Daniel Castagna. Dr. Daniel Castagna was my mentor. I know his heart, I know his mind, and I know his ability. When I came to West Mifflin, I learned a lot. And when I came to Woodland Hills, I was introduced to a term called grace. I've been the beneficiary of grace many times, and I have issued grace many more times while working in this district. It's hard to find someone who hasn't had some issues. Bad things do happen to good people. And I do believe, and I've learned that people should have the opportunity to reinvent themselves and prove themselves. So with that being said, I endorse Dr. Castagna. I do understand there's gray, but I promise you, once this gentleman is in that seat and you work with him, you will be 100%, if not more than satisfied. And if it doesn't work out, then you have the opportunity to go your separate ways. So I just wanted to say on the record, Dr. Castagna has my support.
Thank you, Dr. Woods, and thank you for your service at our high school.
Can you hear me through this mask, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Brandi Fisher. I am the president of an organization entitled the Alliance for Police Accountability. I've been up here for the past maybe 8 years speaking to you about different things. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I just wanted to say a few things very quickly, if I can, very quickly. One, I do also believe, as Dr. Woods, in second chances. My organization is all about second chances. We even hire previously incarcerated individuals. I can understand that we don't always make the best decisions and that we shouldn't follow us for the rest of our lives, especially after we have had time to demonstrate change. And that is important, that we have had time to demonstrate change. But I am also a foster mom, a mother, and a child care educator for the past 18 years. And even in my organization, we hire previously incarcerated individuals, but we don't allow certain people to work with children, right? Because people care very differently about their children and who you entrust in their care. And even in my childcare, I couldn't just hire anybody if I wanted to, because it's not about what I want. It's not about what Dr. Woods wants. It's about what the parents want. And that's who I cared about. And that's who you should care about. And not just because you're represented by them, but I don't understand how you can completely ignore a ton of people because of your own personal feelings. That's not just disrespectful. It just makes no sense in an elected position because it's not about your personal feelings. It's about the feelings of the people that you were elected to represent that you should not ever ignore. And so I'm sitting here and I just don't get it. And if this man was such a great person, I'm not one to judge him. I don't know him and it's not my position or my place. But where's his supporters? He knew people had been going against him all this time. I would have packed this room with people who cared about me, people from my previous district that were parents and students who could tell you not to judge me based on what you read on a piece of paper. I don't see them. So I think there are a lot of things to take into consideration in this situation besides how you feel, how Dr. Woods feels, or whatever is happening here. It is clear that the majority of the people who spoke here tonight that are parents, not just somebody from outside of the area like myself, are asking and begging you not to do this, that you would just blatantly ignore them and do it anyway. Why are you here?
Can I talk after them? Okay, sorry.
Yes, proceed.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, name and address, please.
Lisa Franklin Robinson, Stokes Avenue, North Braddock resident, council member, North Braddock. I'm here not necessarily to talk about Dr. Costanza because I don't know him. But what I do understand is leadership and serving community. You all took an oath a few weeks ago that said that you would execute your duty with fidelity. Fidelity means faithfulness, faithfulness to your constituents who have spoken loudly here. We are trying to bring our neighborhoods back. We are fighting hard to bring North Braddock, Braddock, East Pittsburgh, and Rankin back to being communities that are flourishing, where people would love to come here and live. And this does not sit well with the outside community. For people who are trying to move here, it's not attractive. For people who live here, it's abhorrent. I mean, I like I said, I don't know him personally, but reviewing the resume lets me know that I want to know what your judgment is on hiring somebody that would draw negative attention to our neighborhoods. You took an oath to listen to your constituents and to do what they're asking you to do. And they've said no. And sometimes we don't always agree with what they say, but if the majority of them are saying no, you have to vote no. And like you've been said over and over again and told tonight, that all it takes is a vote to vote you out. And so what I'm saying tonight is I'm urging you on your oath that you took with fidelity, you swore to take faithfulness to this community. You vote in accordance with their word and say no.
So, Mr. Belmont, there's quite a few hands up on Zoom.
Okay,
So,
we can, the folks on Zoom.
Michelle, let's go with Michelle.
Okay,
Hi, Michelle Mccord, Woodstock Avenue, Swissville. My son is a 2015 alumni from Woodland Hills. On November 17th, 2021, the previous board voted to terminate Superintendent James Harris without cause, even though there was no mention of such action at the agenda setting meeting on November the 10th.
Is this too loud for you?
The state code states a hearing notice is to be mailed at least 1 week in advance to the superintendent and each member of the school board. To the best of my knowledge, that did not happen. Now we have a new board considering hiring an acting superintendent who has documented struggles with alcoholism. It is beyond my wildest imagination why the district will entertain hiring an acting superintendent with serious personal issues when the Pennsylvania Association of School Administrators has developed a search service for districts that need a substitute superintendent or acting superintendent as providing in the school code. PASA maintains a list of retired educators who have served as district superintendents and are available to work in school districts on a temporary basis during a district search for a permanent superintendent or during a temporary leave of the current superintendent. It's unfortunate school directors cannot be mandated to participate in school director training. And since it can't be mandated, unless school directors begin to take their role seriously to ensure they are equipped to effectively govern the district, the board will continue to be dysfunctional and make decisions that are not in the best interest of the students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCord. Christy Potter. Teresa, we just recognized Ms. Potter.
Yes, Ms. Potter.
Hi, my name is Christy Potter. I'm from Turtle Creek. I'm reading an email that my 10th grader, Aiden Potter, sent to all of the board. He can't be there tonight as he has musical rehearsals. Dear Woodland Hills board members, hello, my name is Aiden Potter. I am a 10th grade student at Woodland Hills High School, where I am the sophomore class vice president. I am also heavily involved in performing arts, multiple clubs, and I am the Wolverine mascot. I am emailing in regards to the potential hiring of Dr. Castagna, the former West Mifflin superintendent. As I have researched, this is the information that I have found about Dr. Castagna. 1, he asked acquaintances to harass school board candidates. 2, he hired a convicted murderer to walk the halls of West Mifflin. 3, filing multiple lawsuits against West Mifflin board members, mostly because they disagreed with him. There have been multiple DUIs, which to prevent conviction, he took rehabilitation classes to expunge his record. It also stated that one of the DUIs resulted in a hit and run where he ran by foot. He has also been found to be a close contact of Rick White from Sin City Disciples, an outlaw motorcycle gang. This is according to a patch that is seen on clothing he has worn to prior West Mifflin board meetings. 6, Dr. Castagna was fired in 2018. He has gone almost 4 years without employment in the education realm. Instead, he has spent his time co-owning a bar, Cosmos on Carson. When researching this bar, you find Dr. Castagna in photos constantly holding alcohol and in photos that are objectifying women as sex objects. If Dr. Castagna has had multiple DUIs, this means there is a problem with alcohol. If he attended rehabilitation programs, it would seem that he wants to better himself and step away from the scene and most definitely not be in photos holding bottles of booze. My question to the board, what makes Dr. Castagna the best candidate that applied for this interim position? You have given no information as to why you feel that he is the best candidate. It seems it's only because a former employee recommended him. We need a superintendent who wants to better our schools and community. I know that most of you probably feel that I don't know much since I am only 15 years old. I can tell you this. I'm a 10th grade student who loves my school. I have made lifelong friends at Woodland Hills. I love my teachers, though I know I drive them crazy. My goal is to go to college, earn a master's in secondary education, and come back to Woodland Hills and teach. I am truly committed to be a lifelong Wolverine. Thank you. Which means making the best decision and not settling for Dr. Castagna becoming our superintendent. How long will it take before Woodland Hills is in the—
Ms. Potter, I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hawthorne. All of a sudden it works. Okay, who's next?
Ashley. I can't see the last name from here. Ashley Stefano.
Here can I.
Ashley Santoro.
Santoro, yes.
Hi. Yeah, Ashley Santoro. I live on Marion Avenue. I have 3 daughters in the district. So to speak on the point of, what Dr. Wood said with, people being offered grace and allowing second chances. A second chance would have been if Dr. Castagna got his first DUI, right? And then he decided to, improve his character and do better and maybe, start education classes for students against drunk driving, which obviously he has not. He didn't learn from his first DUI. He didn't learn from his second DUI, right? Now he's on his 3rd DUI. And obviously he didn't learn to remove himself from the scene of alcohol as he owns a bar. What you have to think is, what message does this give our children? Most of these kids in our district don't have positive role models, let alone positive professional role models. So all of the teachers and administrators and members of the board, superintendent, serve as those positive professional role models. So having a superintendent sitting there with multiple convictions, you know, everything that we have just rehashed, I don't need to read through his rap sheet again. What message does that give students? You know, oh, you can be a total screw up and, you know, be convicted and do all this stuff and still hold a position of power. I mean, that's not a message that I want my children to see. You know, I want my children to see that you work hard, you have integrity, you have class, you have character, and you build yourself up. You have people that support you. Nobody is supporting this decision, and it is utterly mind-boggling that we are even having this conversation, because he shouldn't even have been entertained. I mean, just because his resume looks good, I mean, you could put diamonds on a turd, it's still a turd. So I think you really need to take consideration, you know, the community and the students you support, and listen to us for once and vote no. Because this is going to do nothing to promote positivity or bring anything good. I have
Thank you, Ms.
family in
Santoro. Thank you very much.
the district if this man gets hired.
Okay, Miss Chardee Jones.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, my name is Chardee Jones, and I live on Corey Avenue here in Braddock, and I graduated in 2007. The hiring of this candidate, it kind of disappoints me, that just thinking about it, and it makes me question if we have standards now. And my feeling about how feelings are not facts. You cannot lead by feeling and not include the people who put the board members in this position. Judging by the candidate's past and our Woodland Hills future, this candidate shouldn't align for what we stand for. There's trust on the line and the Woodland Hills reputation. I believe in second chances, but this is not the time nor place to put our children's future on the line. There's so much at stake here, and this is bad for the Woodland Hills brand. Please vote no. I sat in on a focus group a couple of months ago, and we were talking about branding, and this is terrible for the brand. And tonight I hope to hear why or how the candidate was selected, or else this is quick and a senseless choice, and it's just lazy leadership. Woodland Hills deserves so much better. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
I'm coming. Miss Sarah Mark.
Hi, I'm Sarah Mark from Forest Hills. I'm 439 Fillmore Road. I'm just voicing many of the concerns that other parents are. My story is a bit different in that my son is currently at Dixon in 8th grade. He just switched there this year, coming from a charter school. My daughter is a graduate from last year. Graduated first in the class last year at Woodland Hills. Had a wonderful 4-year experience, came from a private school. It's taken me a long time to trust the school district with decisions and things. When I first moved to the district 22 years ago, you know, the history here, the things that people say when you're not from Pittsburgh. I'm not originally from Pittsburgh, so it took me a long time to kind of get my feel for things in the neighborhood and things, and realizing that a lot of the things that were said about the district were wrong. It's a lot of systemic issues that have been here for 40 years. And the thing about the decision of this candidate is a decisive decision without transparency. And I'm kind of having reactions to Mr. Scott's introduction to this, because it sounds like the vote is already decided. And this is like, and what's disturbing about all of this is with all the systemic issues that we have been dealing with for Like I said, 40, 45 years in this district, this is not going to help things. And I've already heard people saying if they vote yes to this man, that they're going to pull their kids out of the district and send them to private school. I'm kind of at a loss that 5 new members can see that this many people are this upset about it and are just going to go ahead and vote him in. I understand it's an interim position, but I also know Dawn Golden. I also know who Dr. Livingston is. I didn't get the privilege of having my kids have her as others have, but they're wonderful candidates. I don't understand. I'm at a loss. You talk about strategic planning. See, this is where I've worked in higher education. I hear about strategic planning, and what gets lost is humanity. What gets lost is empathy. What gets lost is those types of things. Strategic plans don't mean anything if you don't have a sense of community about it. And so if you go ahead with this vote, I agree with everyone else. I am watching, and I will make sure that I will campaign against the people that vote yes to this.
Thank you, Ms. Mark.
Cosmos, can you please change your name?
Hi, I'm sorry. I have not been able, I've been trying all meeting to change my name and it's not letting me. My name is Kimmy Ferry and I live in Braddock on Corey. I have a first grader at Turtle Creek. And it's my understanding of the law, in order to work in a school, you cannot have more than, you cannot have 2 DUIs and work in a school within 3 years of the expiration of the sentence. Now, I understand that maybe some of the stuff was expunged, but if this was somebody that was coming to work in a school as a teacher, I question, would the school allow that? Because you can teach character, or I'm sorry, you can teach a job, but you cannot teach leadership, character, and community. And that is what the school board is trying to, go against tonight. So I encourage you to vote no, because this is not somebody who represents the community of Woodland Hills.
Thank you.
And it looks like Megan, there's no last name.
Hi, I'm Megan Chambers, 420 Fillmore. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out my daughter's laptop here. I'm just very disappointed about how this whole process took place. Also, I am, at this point, over 15 years in this district, and it's taking me a really long time to actually, not even really that long, but I genuinely love being here. I am proud of having my kids go to this district, and there was a point where I cried about this in the beginning about oh no, this is not going to be great because of all the changes and all the stuff that I saw in the media. However, people keep saying oh, you're Wolverine proud and all this stuff, but I'm really concerned about how this process also took place and why we didn't consider or give this people that work in this district, also Dawn Golden, also Dr. Livingston. I also agree they're great people. Why did we not give them a chance? Why was it important for an interim person? Why did we need to look outside of the district for that? I also urge the board, which I also appreciate. Thank you guys for volunteering your time to do this. I know that this is a volunteer thing and you're giving up your free time to make these decisions. So genuinely, thank you for doing this. But also at the same time, I really would like to have some more transparency about this whole process. And I think that at this point, if we try to be so Wolverine proud, why are we diminishing the prospects of having people inside our district from achieving stuff? It doesn't make any sense to me. And especially regardless, I'm all for second chances, third chances. I believe that to my core. I've never even heard this guy's voice. I don't even know anything about him, except for when I do a Google search. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I urge you to vote no or say table it. That's it. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, and then there's okay, one moment, please. Then there's Sylvia.
Hello.
Thank you for letting me talk tonight. I'm Silvia Martinelli. I'm president of the Board of Commissioners in Wilkins Township. Several years ago, the consortium of the Woodland Hills communities got together and we came to that board and presented them with a vote of no confidence. That consortium met again this past week. There were 27 people who are elected officials in all the communities. Yes, we are considering what we like about the district and what we don't like about the district. Tonight, I want to tell you, you are losing our confidence again. Please don't let this happen. Please listen to your constituents. You were put on that board to vote the way your constituents want you to. Please listen to them. Please listen to them. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Martinelli.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry. My name's Keena James, and I am the coalition organizer for the Alliance for Police Accountability. I don't know Dr. Cassandra. I'm up here to talk, as a coalition organizer. One of my biggest tasks is being in the communities all the time, right? I've attended many board meetings, many council meetings. I was at Penn Hills Council meeting on Monday. And I canvass a lot. So I knock on these people's doors. You know what I'm saying? And one thing that I'm not used to is seeing a community of folks who have respect for their elected officials. That's not a common thing. And it seems to me that the parents, the students, they respect you a lot. The community can be your greatest ally, but also your worst enemy. And I just urge you all to, like I said, I don't personally have a position, but I urge you all to pay attention to what the people that are keeping you here are saying. Woodland Hills is here because of the parents entrusting you with their children to be in their school. Like you're here because of them and nothing else. And, you have to, and I urge this, you have to take it into account what they're saying. And again, like I said, I don't have a position, but I agree with Brandi when she said, you have 25 people on Zoom right now that hasn't agreed with this decision. You have over a dozen people in this room right now that haven't agreed with this decision, and he has one individual, So, we're talking about children, we're talking about the future, and that is what has to be the most important thing to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, there's one more. Amanda Raskowski.
Hi, my name's Amanda Raskowski, Gardenia Drive, Wilkins Township. I'm just going to be very quick. I wasn't planning to speak, but listening to everyone, I just, wanted to add, of course, I firmly believe the board should vote no. I don't think this is a question about whether or not somebody deserves second chances. This is an employment. This isn't generosity of spirit. If you want to give a person a second chance because of their past actions, you do that in your personal life, not in a position of authority in our educational system. Our children deserve better than this. My daughter is in second grade. I'm a big supporter of public schools. I am a product of public schools. And when I moved to this area, everyone rolled their eyes and sighed when I said I was going to be in Woodland Hills School District. And I thought, well, they don't know. There's so much here. But I'm beginning to understand what those roles and eye size and everything. The fact that there even has to be a discussion about whether or not this man is hired, it just seems the most absurd thing to even put it forward to hire somebody that has these issues. And like I said, second chances, yes, great, do them. Not for an employment in education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Meg Madel?
Yes, hello. Everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Meg Madel. I live at 151 Gordon Street in Edgewood. I have 2 children who attend Edgewood STEAM Academy. We have lived in the district since 2011. When we moved here, we heard the same thing that a lot of people hear, I think. Oh, you'll get to live here for 5 years and then you're gonna have to move to another district because Woodland Hills is awful. Around the time my kids were starting kindergarten, we decided to give it a chance because you guys, well, a previous board had voted in a new superintendent. They had hired Dr. Woods. There was a lot of change happening, a lot of positive change. So we signed on, we invested our kids in the district, and we're here. This decision makes me question our choice to stay. I don't feel safe with my children in a school system being run by this man. I'm sorry. If he wants a second chance, he's got to go somewhere else for it. This is too big of an investment. The stakes are too high. Our district needs the best it can get, and I don't believe that this is it. I'm sorry, I just don't. I have a lot of respect for Dr. Woods. I understand this is his friend and a colleague, but I still just, I can't get behind this. And the way this decision has been made, the fact that the vote was tabled last time because you guys didn't have the votes to get him in, just reeks of, this is what you guys want to do, constituents be damned, you don't care. And that really bothers me. I don't even have words for it. I'm sorry. But so please, if you have it in your heart, vote no, and the community will be with you. Thank you.
Miss Lauren Beecham?
Hello, my name is Lauren Beecham. I live at 516 Price Avenue in North Braddock. I am a Woodland Hills alumni. My wife is actually coaching the girls basketball team at this very moment. We are at a place now where we have to make a decision of where our child will go and if he will become a Wolverine. He'll be entering kindergarten in the fall. And our decision will be based heavily on your vote. And it's not whether or not you hire this particular individual. We're looking at how well you all are listening to your constituents. So I just encourage you all to please lend a listening ear and keep the communication open between yourselves and your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beecham.
Ms. Hawthorne, I have a prepared statement I'd like to share.
One second, Marilyn. Are we,
I
anybody else?
believe that is it.
Okay, we got a gentleman back here.
Oh,
My name is James Scott. I live on 611 Brown Avenue, Turtle Creek. I just wanted to make a comment in regards to it. It's actually not even, either way. Like it's just saying that it's just disappointing, right, to hear just the judgment either way on just, we read stories. We all have people in our lives that we know, or maybe some of us have gone through that where, we've been looked at just based on what other people are saying or a story that we read I think that I think that it's suspect. I think there's a lot of suspect things going on regardless. I think that firing a superintendent, I think there's something with that, right? And I think that, okay, what do we have to do now, right? This district, I went to this district, right? I graduated in '94, and I just see that, where are we moving to? What are we doing? We fired a superintendent. What do we have to do to get back where we need to be? What are the families and parents, what are we doing in this community to uplift those that are suffering the most here? What is the strategy? What is the plan? Right? I've seen status quo happen over and over again. I've seen people, oh, they're nice, maybe great people. But what is the standard that we're going on? What are the values that we're going for? Right? Who has that plan? Who has that idea? If you wanted to get voted back in, if you're on the school board and you're just here to get voted back in, then you shouldn't be on the board. You should be here, you're voted in, I'm guessing because, people respect what you have to offer. So you all have the insight, you all do the interviews, you all need to tell us what it is, what was the standard, what was the reason behind it, and I would trust that. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear the court of public opinion.
Mr. Scott, your time's up. Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Alexis Mighty, and I'm an advocate for the Woodland Hills District, along with a member of the Alliance for Police Accountability. And I just wanted to start off with saying that this individual has multiple DUIs, and that's just stating the times he got caught, not saying if he does it today, tomorrow, whatever. And how is he so able and comfy, endangering the lives of civilians and others? And how can you feel secure that one of those civilians won't be one of your students? How can you feel comfortable filling a void with someone who is capable of that? It seems that there's a lot of cons to outweigh the pros, and you have these parents shaking in their boots about the transfer of power, the same as the parents who watch crooked cops switch districts. If you're fired from any job, how is this any different than being rehired for the same job, or like you can't reapply for that same position? And let's check his references from his previous employers. A new employer will conduct a background check, and it doesn't seem like this is a thorough investigation into this individual. The lack of transparency is concerning, and this is how you're conducting business. It's also triggering, because what else are you keeping hidden from these parents about what's happening with their students? That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else from the audience? Anybody on Zoom, Teresa?
No, there isn't.
Okay. Hold it. See a Ben Stahl?
Yeah, that's new.
Okay. Recognize Ben.
Mr. Stahl?
Yes, thank you. My name is Ben Stahl, 518 Ogden Avenue. But in good consciousness for myself, wouldn't be able to pull my kids from this district had I not raised this objection to the onboarding of the interim superintendent. I view this as an abject failure of the school board to preserve the well-being of our children. I'm curious at Mr. Scott's initial comments expressing that the superintendent will be hired as an independent consultant if in fact his 3 DUIs make him ineligible to be an employee of this district in accordance with Title 24, Section 111. I'm not sure why an interim administrator needs to lend to the strategic vision of the administration, but this is unbelievable. For as many black eyes as Woodland Hills gets, and as many gut punches, and as much as these kids have to go through, and I don't know the incumbent superintendent, but this is insane, and you should all be ashamed of yourselves. I yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Stahl. I see VJ.
VJ? VJ, would you like
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I would just like to say that
I'm sorry, can you state your name, please, and your address?
Hi, yes, my name is Valerie Jones, and I live on Miller Avenue in Rankin. I have 2 grandchildren that attend Woodland Hills. My daughter is terrified of Woodland Hills. Every day she says she hates it. She lives in Wilkins, by the way, and she's trying so hard to get out of Woodland Hills School District. By the way, my 2 children went to Woodland Hills School District and they loved it. And I've watched it change throughout the years. The gentleman that you're trying to hire as acting, we know that it's political. Let's face it. You know, when I was in school, we had a group that we call, we like you, but we don't like the other ones. So everybody got together so we can get against this one and everybody vote against that. That's what's going on here. Let's face it. Nobody's going to admit it. I know this guy. He doesn't know that I know him. Need be, I'll tell you all, you do not want to hire him. If you go for a job interview and they ask for references, of course you're going to put down all the good things. You're not going to put the bad things down. Let's face it, that's the truth. I vote no, and I hope that everybody else on this board considers doing the right things. These children are our future. You all may not be around, but they will be. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
You're welcome.
Miss Estep. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad with it. Sorry. I'm just sorry.
It's okay.
Hi, thank you. It is Estep. I live on Elmore Road in Forest Hills. I just have a quick comment because like Mr. Stahl said before, in good conscience, I just need to say it. And I need to say it because I love Woodland Hills so much. I love living here. I love my community. I love my kids' teachers, our principal, everything. So a superintendent is a leader, right? And our district needs a really good one right now. And it's my understanding that we have at least 2 internal candidates for this position who have a proven history here with our students, our staff, and our whole community. Women that I believe will continue their dedication and hard work for us, who will not move on to the next opportunity when the going gets tough. And we all know that the going can get tough around here. But the great thing is we already know these people can handle tough because they handle tough every day in this district and they've stuck around. And I believe choosing an outside individual with the obvious baggage that he will carry into our community over 2 qualified, dedicated individuals who already possess an understanding and love for our district is a big mistake. And it's even a bigger mistake if you're making this decision largely based on the recommendation of a single person. So I'm just asking all of you, our elected board members, to please hear your constituents and consider our other options here, and to certainly not be swayed by the opinion of anyone other than your own constituents and your community. I thank you for your time and I thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Anybody else, Teresa? Looks empty. Okay, we're good. A motion to
yeah, on the agenda.
On the agenda.
So moved.
Someone.
You got it. Somebody's got to read it.
Oh.
Motion. And second.
Motion to enact resolution 563.22, hiring Dr. Daniel Castagna as acting superintendent pursuant to an acting superintendent agreement.
Moved by Ms. Scott. Is there a second?
Someone.
Second.
Okay.
Seconded by Mr. Scott. Did I hear that right? Okay. And now there are comments by the board. Any questions or concerns?
I have a comment.
Yes,
I have
ma'am.
prepared a comment. I take my role on this school board very seriously. As a parent, board member, and proud Woodland Hills graduate, class of 1998, my ties to this district and its communities are deep and emotional. For these past 2 years, I have done my best to lead with integrity and have been very public and transparent with my motivation, which is to advocate on behalf of scholars and their families, and to amplify the voices of marginalized populations, particularly within my constituent region of Braddock, Edgewood, Rankin, and Swissvale. I was part of the interviewing committee for the position of interim superintendent. During this process, I had the opportunity to interview several candidates and score them based on their answers to questions submitted by members of the school board. While I certainly recognize Dr. Castagna's professional experience, My scores for him did not even rank in the top half of all interviewed candidates. It is my personal belief that Dr. Castagna's values do not align with those of our district, and it is for that reason that I am voting no tonight. I'm not a gambler, but I can see when the risks outweigh the benefits, and I am 100% unwilling to risk my daughter's education or the academic successes of any of your children, particularly when we have many other qualified candidates we could be considering. Our building staff, administrators, and scholars deserve a leader who will value them and work to improve the culture of this district. Dr. Castagna is not that leader.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. I see Ms. Curry's hand up.
Yes, Ms. Curry.
Hi, good evening, and I apologize for not being there. I've now
Ms.
been on
Curry
the.
had a family emergency. That's
Thank
okay.
you.
Go ahead, Rana.
Thanks. Whew, okay. So I have been a board member for 4 years now. I've received many emails, phone calls over the years, have made some tough votes along the way. And at the time of this meeting, I have received emails from 37 of our community members. I've received many phone calls regarding this vote, and the opinions are not split. The outreach from the community is unified against this appointment. There are internal candidates who are qualified and were interested in this position. These candidates have dedicated their careers to our schools and our communities. They have celebrated graduations, weddings, births. They have grieved the losses of employees and students. I advocated for hiring from within this time. If there ever was a time to give a chance to someone from within, this is the time. If we never promote from within for positions like this, we risk losing good talent, and they will move to districts that will promote from within. Dr. Castagna was promoted from within. I don't understand. And for these reasons and many more, I'm voting no tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Curry. Teresa, do you see anybody else on?
No, I do not.
Okay. Ms. Reed or Mr. Scott or Mr. Flanagan, Bay, any comments?
I would like to speak. I would like to speak.
Terry,
I
okay.
have my hand raised function. Good evening, you guys. I'm going to just read a note because my heart is broken. So, thank you, board members, just for the opportunity here. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Tonight, I would like to touch on a few points that our new board members believe are valid and that work on their interim candidate's behalf and in his favor. They say things like, I quote, high risk, they say things like, I quote, low risk, high reward, reputation, and the culture of Woodland Hills are things that this candidate can elevate. Honestly, I don't see a potential candidate with legal affairs and other questionable levels of inappropriate actions, which have led to 3 years of consistent unemployment due to these actions, as a low risk, especially in a school board setting. And I definitely cannot fathom the reward. The culture of our school district and the community is not that conducive of their selected candidate. And if this is the type of cultural background that we are adopting, let's look forward really quickly to proficiencies de-escalating from 13% to nearly zero. I'm not saying this is the wrong candidate. I'm saying this is the wrong place for him, the wrong time for him also. And let's talk about reputation. All of these things reflect just that, this candidate's reputation. That is why these people are all here, one page, saying one thing, a 2-letter word, no. This is not the reputation of our district. This is not the reputation of this is not who we represent. This is not what Wolverines look like. This, what you're seeing, guys, this is the reputation of a few good old boys and girls who like to rub elbows and stir empty pots of foolishness, which leads to absolutely nothing, which is none of what we need in such a critical time in the transitions of our school district. The saddest part of these tactics that are being played is they're being played at the expense of your children, our families, our stakeholders, and most important, our fabulous facilitators. So you look and you think you're personally hurting someone or gaining some personal clout, which is not what you should be trying to do, especially on a school board platform. Personal, petty nonsense and empty rumors, they can all be played in arenas like Facebook and Instagram or wherever kids play. In the long run, you'll see the people who your little personal vendetta really made an impact on will be the families of the Woodland Hills School District. And each child that goes to another school at our expense or at their parents. And each facilitator who goes to find their dream job in a district that recognizes their expertise and their many, many strong talents, and which I strongly encourage if this is your candidate. With that being said, think about what you're doing to our district. Gain your own empty personal victories. This is not fair to us. Good night.
Thank you, Ms. Watson.
Ms. Creech.
Good evening. I am very heavy-hearted right now and just listening to all of the comments. And as a new board member, roll out the understanding of how far I can go in sharing information and being transparent, please understand that that is one of my focus points as I'm on the board. I am still continuing to learn that, but listening to everyone and realizing how much, at least to this degree, can be shared, allow me to point some things out. And the more that I am permitted to, the more I will share as time goes on. Those who know me, please hear my heart. Those who do not, please give me an opportunity. So far tonight, no one has spoken for me. Nothing that has been said, the they and the we and the five is not what I am saying. Hear my position. I have read every email that has come through and every point that has been made. It has been a difficult decision to navigate through, and I will tell you where my resolve has come. We had a committee of individuals that were a part of the interview process. I was not. And when our board members came back, there was no solid representation or confidence in one internal candidate. My initial position was more linked towards my personal knowledge. I have total respect and confidence in our teachers, our administration, and that is why my family is still here after 14 years that we've been in this district. And I have had multiple children come through here, 25-year-old, as well as my 3 that are still within the district. I am committed to Woodland Hills, and my children are vested in this community. I came on the board to be a supporter as a member of an East Pittsburgh community. We've had our struggles and we are fighting through. So I have total investment in what goes on in this district. And those of you, again, who know me know how much I've volunteered and I support and I help. And I want to be one to hear what is being said and come together and work together. And the disheartening part for me is the perception that it is a victory or it is a win. And that is not my posture at all. The reason that I lean towards those who were part of this process is, like I said, because of the conclusion that came out, it was not 100% wanting to dialogue and come in through this. And those who I have talked to, trusted individuals who I know, teachers within West Mifflin, teachers here who are familiar with Mr. Castanga, as well as friends that I have who were working with him when he was at West Mifflin, board members that were on the board at the time of West Mifflin. They've circulated their own petition that went out on his behalf. That information has not been shared. And vetting through some of the information that's out because it's Google and because we say it 3 times does not make it a fact. Now, I can't speak to every single point on that, but the things that I have looked into and found out about have not been proven fact. Now, the ones that are concerning have been addressed internally. And I am saying to you that while we are looking to him as a consultant, I feel comfortable in saying that we're holding him to the fire in this temporary short period of time while we can continue to build on the inside and do the things that need to be done as a district. It is important that no matter what happens and every decision that we make, that we do work together. I am hearing what is being said, and those who have reached out to me personally, I have told you that I would sit and talk to you even in more detail and share my heart, but my hope that we all come together and that it's not about a victory. At least on my part, it is not about who wins, who loses, because we all win or we all lose. And that is why I'm still here. It is trust and believe that coming new to a board and wanting to be welcomed in fully, it is important that as we lead and as we work together, I understand the value of parents, of children, as well as our teachers and board members. We all play a part in this, but we have to come together and hear one another. And I will tell you, in our conversations in executive, that has not been a come together, and that is on all parts. So it's not a win or a loss here. We all win or we all lose. So yes, I am voting, and yes, Perk is going to come on to work together with us because of, as I said, all of the information that I've been given with those who have been with him, in addition to the things that are going on that we need to work through, but we have to do it together, as well as the confidence in having that I am here to work with everyone who wants to do what's best for our kids. And I will also stress that our district is very vast. Everyone that I'm hearing from, none of those, even the parents who heard of this that have reached out in support of what seems like an uncomfortable situation and a challenge and a stretch, that in our uncomfortable realm and area, as we continue to push through and work together and communicate, we will be able to come out of this stronger if it's together and not pointing fingers. I'm not pointing fingers. There's nothing to be said about good, bad, right, wrong. It's about the focus has to be on what is best for our children. If it was a safe answer, we could have gone a different route to be safe. But because of the value to the education, and I'm speaking from someone who, like I said, as a 24-year-old who struggled to get through here. At the time, whenever she was here, Woodland Hills was not the best for her, and it failed her. And I fought for that with my younger ones. And that I've gone hard at like our teachers and the expectation. They have met that. And the communication has been great. And the work has been great. And the passion has been there. And our leadership has, over time, as you've seen, continued to fail. There's a lot of things that have been said today that were not accurate to why I am where I am. And part of that is the encouragement, like a Mr. Woods. I've never actually even met Mr. Woods. I know him to see him, but I don't have a relationship with him. There was no influence on my part. That was, his name was never brought up, nor was I weighing in on a Harris, whether or not to keep him or lose being part of the problem. I just want everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Creech. Anybody else? Mr. Flanagan back.
Dr. McMillan. her hand up.
Oh, okay.
Dr. McMillan.
I didn't know my hand was up, but I'm gonna say, I'm very new to the board. I'm an educator. I've been an educator for a very long time. No one has swayed my decision. When I spoke with Dr. Castagna, about some of his personal things, I totally understood what was going on. I tried not to use that as a bias. As Ms. Creech said, we can't Google everything because the media is going to put out there what the media wants us to hear. One thing that I did not see from Google or from the media was the fantastic job that Castagna did at West Mifflin. The amazing recommendations that I received from some of his former teachers. I have emails from some of his former teachers. So when I'm looking at someone that's going to lead the district, and I too have children, I've graduated 2 children from the Woodland Hills School District. I have a son in the Woodland Hills School District. I need someone that's going to get in there. I don't care if it was for 2 weeks or 2 years. We don't need to continue to band-aid our problems. We need to have someone in there that understands the system and that's going to be able to work the system to get us out of the situation that we are in now. You are absolutely right. We had some great internal candidates, but I don't think we should assassinate their career by throwing them into a situation where they're not fully prepared to be in. So my vote is for Castagna.
Yes. Ooh, boy, where to start? I've been a long time resident living in Braddock, grew up there. I got involved in the 90s, working with the NAACP. School district was under court order. We were addressing parents' concerns and all through the 90s. And that was really, that should have been my 9 to 5, but that wasn't where the paycheck came. So that was totally volunteer work. Me, Darlene Coleman, Amy Howe. So right into the 2000s till that court order was lifted. So I've had an investment here. I've had 3 children graduate from this school and they're doing pretty well. Daughter who's a captain in the Air Force, son who's out in Vegas being a cook, graduated from Teal College. Daughter graduated from North Carolina A&T. And one's still with us who went to a community college, looking to go to a 4-year school. So, and I was fighting before they started school. So I care. And nobody here was up here when we were in the 90s and early 2000s at this podium.
Have kids then.
Oh, well, there you have it, my dear. But I'm just saying, bottom line, they weren't here. That needed to be, we needed this involvement. Then things would probably be a lot different now. But getting to the situation at hand, when the interview process, a committee came back with the decision, it was 2 votes for Costanza and.
Don't go further on the.
Okay,
votes.
thank you. Thank you. The consensus was with Costanza and Constagna, excuse me. I didn't know anything about the man, but I trusted my colleagues on what they came back with and their backgrounds to make such a decision. And for me, this is also, I hear the concerns, and I've even heard some other things that has not been spoken here. But this is also about, it's not only about the community, it's not only about the school district, but it's also about the relationship that a school board has with the superintendent. And they are in order to do things. Mr. Harris would probably been a better superintendent with the combination of people we have now. So I couldn't see going against my colleagues and what they stated because I didn't know anything else other than what the group came back with. And this is who they said that they could work with and get things done in this district and improve things on an interim basis while we search for a full-time superintendent. Yes, yes, I do.
Yep. Hold your comments, please.
But I have to stay the course. I truly believe that to get things done in relation to how things have been, that this would be a good choice to get things done. I understand about the image.
Excuse me. Please.
Please.
No comments.
Hold your comments, please.
Buffoonery.
That's where I'm at. I do have the best interests of the district and people that I represent. And I've done it for many years. And this is about change and bringing change and getting a new start.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clangenbay. Ms. Reed or Mr. Scott?
Okay, so I'll speak. So yeah, quite a few things that I've seen on social media and also some of the things that were said here are also false. We are not considering Dr. Castagna because of the word of one person or anything like that. We did have a process. And so some of the things that were raised was, but folks had questions about the process. So one, we did post internally. We did post externally on different sites where we could receive candidates from, you know, all over. And so we did, there was a hiring committee, interview committee, and Dr. Castagna did, you know, there were more folks in favor of him. And I also want to mention, so I understand, I mean, I've had to stand at that podium many times, you know, and I've been upset many times by school board decisions. I'm also a parent of 2 children who graduated from the district. And there were times where I was afraid to send my kids to school. And so I do consider the word of my constituents. I'm an advocate and I work in education as well. And no, a lot of people aren't going to come out for, you know, I have received phone calls and messages of people who are in favor of Dr. Castagna. And I think a lot of what's been happening over the past few days also made it to where folks don't feel safe coming out here. Like some of us have, I've had the board member report that they've been threatened. So that'll affect that too. I understand what folks, especially with some of the things that have been said on social media, I understand why they would be upset. And I've worked hard for years in this district, advocating for families, helping them retain support for their families when they've needed it. And, you know, as far as a process, the new board members wanted this process. That is not how these things were. This is not supposed to occur this way. We were not encouraged to initially have like an interview process. They have someone in mind that they wanted us to just appoint. So there's a lot going on here that you are unaware of. And some of the folks who are speaking, they are saying what they're saying because they want someone in particular, and they did not want this process. We fought for that. So I get, you know, you're going by with what people said. I understand that. No, he was the best person there. And I hear great things about Dr. Castagna. I understand that, yes, there's some things in his background I'm not happy about. But some of our children have the same stigma attached to them as well. And I fight against that. So what do I look like downing someone about their past when I have to fight for our kids who also have things in their past? Right? So we have, and on top of that, some of the folks some of these folks also, you know, have negative things.
Please. Miss Say, please.
Yeah. So yeah, so just like, look, when it gets down to it, we have to think, can he do the job? My number one thing is if someone has experience, and that's it. And so when it gets down, look, I take my constituents seriously, and we have heard positive things about him. I wouldn't consider him if we didn't. I know, I get it. But that's, you know, that's the person that I'm concerned, that I am considering for this position, and I stand on that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Scott.
I just want to clarify one thing, because a lot of
things have come up. I did not know any of the people that are voting for Castagna before we joined the board. I do not know Mr. Castagna. Didn't really know Principal Woods that well. Knew some of his reputation, but didn't know him well either. My decision was, unlike one of my colleagues maybe mentioned, there was some type of revenge or vendetta or anything like that. I couldn't be further from the truth. I honestly, I couldn't make a more objective decision. I communicated that with our board members consistently, right? Which is why I advocated for a process. Simply put, I genuinely care about the district, would talk about it with anybody here. We are victims of the process, yes, right? I would have loved to have conversations with any person who would question my motives or anything else. I'm fully confident in that.
Call with the union president.
I would love to have conversations with anybody who would want that, but we are victims of our process. And all I will say is that is why I support Castagna, because we had a process, we worked that process, and we are coming up with the best candidate. We all have the best interests of the district at heart.
Hey,
And we
hold
have
on,
that
please.
place,
Hold on.
And
Let
all we can
let
do
Mr.
is
Scott finish.
that people will see that. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Scott, anything else?
No, I'm done.
Okay, please, folks, can you be quiet, please? I'll speak now. When you hire an interim superintendent, it's temporary. It's to have somebody in place to handle the day-to-day routine. The experience factor is not what you look for in an interim. It's somebody that can manage the week to week. What do we need done? You form the search committee, you go find the permanent superintendent, and you along the way get stakeholder input from various groups in the community to help us select that person. Secondly, Mr. Scott alluded to or stated that new board members wanted to come in and, wanted us to hold off on our decision on Mr. Harris's termination. That's not how it works. None of you folks had the lived experience that we did. And when you have an 8-1 vote, that's pretty powerful. Enough said on that. I like Mr. Harris. Enough said on that. We had the lived experience. Nobody else did. Number 3, I moved into this district in the 80s. A lot of people didn't, others were moving out. So people like me, and I am thrilled to see young families advocating for this district to sustain this district, because in the early days, families who stayed were doing the same thing. Number 4, I have not, other than some parents on social media advocating for Dr. Castagna, from any of the other constituencies in this district, have I heard anything positive about Dr. Castagna. When you're in our position, yeah, you can lead, but you need to know when to listen. And we have not heard from anybody tonight advocating for Dr. Castagna. My hope tonight would be a 9-0 vote no. And I know that's pie in the sky. Number 6, to listen to constituents and the recurring theme tonight and on the concern line. And every concern line was, please don't support this candidate. We can't afford the negativity. It's been an ongoing theme for years.
Ain't been years.
Okay, Dr. Woods. Yeah, and I thank you for your service. Enough. So then number 8. When you are hiring an interim, it's perfectly fine to look internally. And when you have qualified candidates, like Pittsburgh Public recently, you do that. And then that person can apply for the permanent job. Our internal candidates didn't have any experience. So by process, if you're looking for experience, they're cut out. And that's not fair to 35 years combined experience in this district. Is that how we treat our employees? 35 years combined experience. And that's how we treat our employees. Okay? Finally, as president of this board, I am in a very difficult situation. Very difficult situation. To try to make this all work, people calling me and thanking me for being here. Somebody saying, Mike, you're the stability of this district that I see. Had the mayor of Chalfont call me, amongst other elected officials. And he said, Mike, use my name. Jim Perry said, I've gotten multiple phone calls from my constituents wondering why we are considering Dr. Castagna. And that's just one guy. So tonight, as I finish, thank you for listening. I'm going to ask that we vote no. I have not heard a good enough reason to move forward with this candidate. And I've been involved from the beginning too. That's a difference of opinion. Ms. Reed, do you have something?
Yeah,
to
I
say?
have something to say. So first of all, yeah, we weren't on the board when you made that decision to fire Mr. Harris. I've also haven't received a good explanation as to why you fired him. And not only that, I also asked for the correspondence between you and his attorney to fight in regards to the settlement agreement and all that. I've yet to receive it. You told me that that you were advised by the solicitor to not give it to me. I shouldn't have to file a right to know request.
This is off topic, Ms.
But
Reed.
I don't want to hear that. You spoke on it. Number
This is
two,
off topic.
you should not have fired the superintendent in the
Okay.
middle of a pandemic with no assistant superintendent.
Yep.
And you talk about how you want to try to shame us here. Didn't you you're the same person who voted for a person to have a promotion after they were on video hurting children. So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about murder.
Are there any other comments? Are there any other comments? Okay.
So
Ms. Hawthorne?
there are 3 comments on the
No.
on the.
No,
We're
no,
done.
we're
Okay,
done.
so we're ready to take the vote.
Yeah, we're going to take the vote.
Okay. I'm opening up the vote.
This is all about Harris then. No, it's not.
Yeah, that's what
you. So stop.
Ms. Doucet, please.
Yeah, stop.
Excuse me. The vote is open
Yes, ma'am.
online. It's online.
Okay.
Yes.
My glasses, make sure I get this right. No.
Thinking. You could just tell me. Ms. Lawson? Mr. Flanagan? You can just tell me, I'll put it in for you, but you have to say it loud.
Hello, it's Miss Lawson. I'm sorry, I could not unmute my mic. I apologize. My vote for tonight's candidate is an affirmative no.
Okay, Mr. Flanagan,
Yes.
Shame yourself.
Ms. Creech? Ms. Creech? Does this mean she's not present at the time of the vote?
No. Reestablish, go through everybody else and get back to Ms. Creech.
Okay, so I have everyone's vote already.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes,
And-
Ms. Creech is the last one.
Contact Ms. Creech then.
Yeah.
Hello? I
Yes.
could not mute. I could not unmute. I vote yes.
Okay, thank you.
What'd she vote?
Yes.
She said yes.
Okay, a motion carries. Dr. Castagna is appointed as the interim superintendent.
Because they're mad at Harris.
I like,
You win.
excuse me,
The kids win.
Excuse me, I would like,
Hold on a second.
I would like.
Hold on a second, please. You're welcome. Dr. Castagna, Judge Caulfield is here to swear you in.
I just have something
And
to
then
say.
we'll join the meeting.
Remember, y'all didn't listen here. You'll listen at them polls.
I think,
The last thing I do. And trust me, I get these people.
Okay.
worked up around
Well, Dr. Castagna, we'll adjourn the meeting and then swear you in.
Okay,
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Should we allow? Dr.
There's public
Castagna to
comment.
make
Yeah, if he
some
wants to make comments,
Yeah, go
that
ahead.
would be good. Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I should have caught that.
Okay, if I take this off.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hi. Okay, yep.
I want to start by saying, first, I hold no animus at all to anyone who spoke tonight against my hiring. Any board member who felt against my hiring. We don't know each other yet. And when people have a preconceived prejudice about you or some belief, there's nothing I'm going to say that's going to change that. That only changes over time and interaction. And I believe that through my time here and my work in the school district with the students and the staff, I believe your opinion will change. I know probably a lot of you don't want to hear what I have to say, but I just ask that you hear me out because I sat and listened to everyone. There was a lot of things that said that are not true. Absolutely. People made comments that I wouldn't be able or eligible for employment, and you're correct if what you were saying was true, but they were false. So I just want to address the board and the community, since it's the first time you're getting to meet me, and basically tell you two things: my purpose for being here in this position and my why. First, my purpose. I care deeply about public education. You're never going to hear anyone talk about the way that I fought for my students of West Mifflin and Duquesne. I went to Harrisburg, fought for fair funding. I did things that a lot of superintendents before me did not do because they were risky, okay? I care deeply about kids. I care deeply about building lifelong relationships with kids so that as they become adults, we stand beside them as the mentors they need, like I needed people tonight. I did not ask people to be here tonight. I had plenty of people to reach out to me to do that, but I did not want to create a war here. I wanted everyone to say what they had to say, and I want to move on in this position, and I want to show you what I'm capable of doing. My main focus here will be, as it always was when I was at West Mifflin, will be to create opportunities for kids that they otherwise would not have. There's programs out there I believe I can introduce. There are things inside that I believe I can help make more efficient. Because of my experience, that is going to be my focus. I will concentrate on that, frame all discussions around that, and not anything else with my time here. And I have to tell you my why, I really do, just to let you know a little bit about me. I come from a family of educators. My mother and father both had 40 years in this profession. And they passed on that lifelong passion for education to myself and my sister. My sister teaches right now in her 20th year at Moon. When I was removed from my position, you could imagine as a family of educators, how difficult that was. It was hard on everybody. And it was in March in 2019 for issues that I still to this day am actively disputing. They are not true. My father was sick and he passed in May of 2019. But I promised him and my mother that I would never stop fighting to get back into education. I have been working in education as a consultant, just not have been into a public school until tonight. So this vote by this board tonight allowed me to keep a promise I made to my parents. That weighs heavily on me. And it's a responsibility that will weigh heavy on me. I thank you. And I promise you but I'm going to do great things for this district and make you proud of that vote tonight. You know my purpose and you know my why, and hopefully you know a little bit more about me. I thank you for this opportunity, and I promise you in a couple months, we won't be talking about any of this anymore. We're going to talk about the great progress we made. Thank you again.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
No, we have public comment on items, but they cannot be on the agenda, this agenda item.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Is there any public comment on anything other than what was on the agenda tonight? Seeing none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Meeting adjourned.